Hello everyone, welcome to the market opening bell on Tuesday, November 11th, your 10-minute guide to the stock market. The U.S. Senate passed the temporary funding bill with 60 votes in favor and 40 against, raising market hopes that the U.S. government shutdown will end. U.S. stock futures rose combined with better-than-expected inflation data from mainland China last month. Hong Kong stocks performed strongly. The Hang Seng Index opened 77 points higher, with gains expanding to a high of 427 points, briefly reaching 26,668. It closed up 407 points or 1.6% at 26,649. The X-share index rose 175 points or 1.9% to 9,443. The Hang Seng Tech Index gained 78 points or 1.3% to 5,915. Total market turnover was 214.7 billion Hong Kong dollar. Southbound funds net bought 6.654 billion Hong Kong dollars in Hong Kong stocks. Among them, net buys include CNOOC at $1.313 billion, PopMart $580 million, Xiaomi $173 million, Xpeng $103 million. Net sales include Alibaba at $653 million, SMIC $217 million, Hua Hong Semiconductor $197 million, Tencent $127 million. Statistically, Southbound funds have net bought Xiaomi for 9 consecutive days, totaling $5.368 billion. Net bought Xpeng for 3 consecutive days, totaling $1.68 billion. And net sold Alibaba for 3 consecutive days, totaling $1.322 billion. Technically, the Hang Seng closed above 26,600, but whether it has truly broken out of the 25,600 to 26,600 consolidation range remains to be confirmed over the next couple of days. Mainland A-shares opened higher but fluctuated. The Shanghai Composite fell, then rose, reclaiming 4,000 and closing at a high of 4,018, up 21 points or 0.9%. The Shenzhen Component closed at 13,427, up 23 points or 0.2%. The Chinex fell over 2% earlier, but narrowed losses in the afternoon, closing at 3,178, down 29 points or 0.9%. Total turnover in Shanghai and Shenzhen was 2.1706 trillion yuan. The renminbi US dollar central parity rate was lowered by 20 points to 7.0856. Hong Kong Gold shares generally rose, driven by signs of U.S. economic weakness. In early Asian trading, NYMEX gold futures touched $4,050 per ounce, up 1% intraday. Spot gold stood about $4,040 per ounce, up nearly 1%. The China Gold Association reported that mainland gold consumption in the first 3 quarters of 2025 was 682.73 tons, down 7.95% year-over-year. Breakdown was gold jewelry 270.04 tons, down 32.5 year-over-year. Gold bars and coins 352.12 tons, up 24.55% year-over-year. Industrial and other uses 60.58 tons, up 2.72% year-over-year. Mainland gold ETFs added 79.01 tons, up 164% year-over-year. As of end September, mainland gold ETF holdings were 193.75 tons. Global central banks continue adding gold. Mainland China has increased reserves for 11 straight months. In Q1 to Q3 2025, China added 23.95 tons. Gold reserves stood at 2,305 and 3.52 tons by end September. Gold consumption shows a tale of two markets. Jewelry demand plunged while investment products remained strong. JD.com, together with GAC Group and CATL, officially launched the national good car, Aion UT Super. Battery rental purchase price was 49,900 yuan. Full purchase was 89,900 yuan. For Trio also introduced cashback, value-added, and price protection benefits. This is a strategic alliance amid fierce EV competition in China. JD.com will handle sales and user ecosystem, exclusive on JD platform, leveraging e-commerce data for after-sales. JC Aion will provide manufacturing and design based on AEP 3.0 pure EV platform. CATL will supply battery, Hang Seng Super fast charging, leading in range and charging. For JD, this extends new retail plus new mobility expected to contribute over 10% of auto category revenue. JC strengthens low-rent positioning to offset weak high-rent sales. CATL expands battery shipments, solidifying its global number one market share, 38% in Q3 2025. Sunny Optical reported October handset lens shipments of 122 million units, up 5.7% year-over-year and 4% month-over-month, ending the prior month's year-over-year decline. Growth was driven by smartphone market recovery, especially demand for high-pixel lenses in mid to high-end models, example Huawei, Xiaomi flagships. However, growth was modest, reflecting overall weak global handset shipments. IDC forecasts only 2% year-over-year growth in Q4 2025. Sunny maintains over 25% market share, but faces intensifying supply chain competition. With iPhone 17 series and Android flagships launching in November, shipments are expected to grow 3 to 5% month-over-month. Handset camera module shipments was 44.997 million units, up 33.2% year-over-year, driven by order recovery from clients such as Oppo and Vivo, and AI multi-lens trends, but down 7.3% month-over-month, possibly due to seasonal inventory optimization or production shift to automotive. Automotive lens shipments were 12.217 million units, up 40.3% year-over-year, far above industry average. Global automotive optics was up 15% year-over-year, driven by rising EV penetration and ADAS adoption, up 4.8% month-on-month, signaling automotive becoming a core business, expected to contribute over 15% of 2025 revenue. Fit Hong Tang reported 9 months revenue and other operating income of $3.629 billion, up 11.98% year-over-year. Q3 alone was $1.324 billion, up 12.77% year-over-year. 9-month net profit from continuing operations was $104.6 million, up 3.88% year-over-year. Q3 net profit was $74.375 million, up 9.37% year-over-year. Results show steady revenue growth but moderate profit gains, supported by cloud, AI, and automotive segments amid fluctuating consumer electronics demand. The U.S. Senate passed the funding bill, likely ending the government shutdown. President Trump said he would use tariff revenue to reduce U.S. debt, boosting U.S. stocks. The fear gauge VIX fell 1.5 points or 7.8% to 17.6. The Dow rose 425 points or 0.9% intraday, closing up 381 points or 0.8% at 47,368. The S&P 500 gained 103 points or 1.5% to 6,832. The Nasdaq surged, closing up 522 points or 2.3% at 23,527. The Nasdaq Golden Dragon China Index, tracking Chinese ADRs, rose 181 points or 2.3% to 8,238. AI chip stocks led gains, Nvidia up 5.8%, Palantir up around 9%, Micron up more than 6%. top 3 Nasdaq 100 performers. Other big tech: Microsoft up 1.9%, ending longest 8-day losing streak since 2011. Tesla rose 3.7%. However, China Passenger Car Association data showed Tesla sold only 26,000 units in China in October, a 3-year low, down 35.8% year-over-year and 63.6% month-over-month. Its EV market share in China shrank to just 3.2% from 8.7% last month, lowest in over 3 years. Alphabet rose 3.9%, Meta gained 1.6%, Amazon gained more than 1%. Apple rose only 0.5%. Reports say Apple will delay the next-gen iPhone Air launch due to weak demand for this year's model. No confirmed release date, but it won't be 4/2026 as previously planned. Here's a special introduction to Philips Securities IPO subscription limited time exclusive offer from October 20, 2025 to January 31st, 2026. Subscribe to IPOs via Philips Securities and meet the conditions below to receive iShares Gold Trust shares. Subscribe 8 million to 20 million Hong Kong dollars. Failed to win allotment 5 times, you'll get 1 IAU share. Subscribe more than 20 million Hong Kong dollars. Failed to win allotment 5 times, will get 3 IAU shares. Subscribe IPOs with Philip. Win or lose, you still get the reward. Our stock pick today is Zhaoke Ophthalmology, stock code 6622. Zhaoke Ophthalmology is dedicated to the research, development, production and commercialization of therapies to address significant unmet medical needs. Its product portfolio includes 3 flagship drug candidates nearing market approval, 1 for controlling myopia progression in children and adolescents, 1 for managing moderate to severe dry eye disease, and 1 for the treatment of wet age-related macular degeneration, WAMD. In addition, the group has 2 promising candidates in clinical development: Primatrol PF for the treatment of presbyopia, ZKY001 for corneal epithelial defects. The portfolio also includes a series of selected generic drug assets aimed at reaching a broader patient population and beginning to serve as a revenue source for the group. While Greater China remains the group's primary market, it has strategically expanded into other regions, including the United States, Australia, New Zealand, the Middle East, South Korea, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. Recently, the group announced a distribution and supply agreement with Indonesian pharmaceutical company PT Ferren-Pa Pharmaceuticals for the commercialization of Primatrol PF in Indonesia. Under the agreement, the group will receive an upfront payment and is eligible for additional milestone payments upon achieving specific goals. Primatrol PF is a preservative-free, once-daily investigational eye drop designed to correct near vision loss due to aging. In June 2025, the third developer of Primatrol PF, 10 Point, announced that the US FDA had accepted the drug's new drug application. In May 2025, the group's independently developed cyclosporine ophthalmic gel had its NDA accepted by China's National Medical Products Administration (NMPA). In June 2025, the group's investigational new drug application in the US was also approved by the FDA. In June and July 2025, the group established strategic partnerships with U.S. pharmaceutical company Somerset Therapeutics and France-based global contract manufacturing organization Forever Group. The group's advanced pharmaceutical facility in Nansha, Guangzhou will serve as a production base for ophthalmic drugs for both partners and their clients. In August 2025, the group obtained the medical device registration certificate from the NMPA for Tono Eye, a portable non-contact tonometer that measures intraocular pleasure without anesthesia and reduces infection risk. It's designed to enable ophthalmologists to easily and accurately monitor eye pleasure, thereby improving glaucoma diagnosis and treatment rates in China. Recommendation: buy at 3.55 Hong Kong dollars, target $3.95, stop loss at $3.4. I do not hold the above stock.